So I've got a couple new books that I want to read this year. Let's talk about it. This video was sponsored by me. If you want to start or grow a creative business in 2025, you should check out my new book. The first book that I want to read this year is The Composition of Outdoor Painting by Edgar Allan Payne. This is a very old book. I think this was first published in like the 1940s. It has gone through many editions, and Edgar Allan Payne is a widely regarded, famous plein air painter and landscape painter. So he painted on location outside for a ton of his career. This is widely considered to be the best book on composition basically ever written. It is like the seminal work on composition. And this is one of my really big goals in 2025, to get better at this skill. It's kind of my main art goal. And so I figured that reading this book cover to cover, going through it, analyzing it, taking notes, trying to do studies and sketches and go on location more would be a really good way to get better at this skill. And I think this book will really help me do that. The next book on my list is also Edgar Payne. It's not written by him, it's a monograph. It's Edgar Payne, The Scenic Journey. Edgar Payne is very well known. I can't fit my face in this book in the same frame. Edgar Payne is very famous for painting the Western United States. It's kind of like what he's best known for. He painted all over. He painted in like all over the US, I think in Florida, Switzerland, Europe, like really he went all over, but he's really best known for this. I think because he was like contracted by a railroad company to do like advertising artwork basically for them, and I think that's the story. But either way, this is kind of his whole vibe. This is what he's best known for, and I really like collecting monographs like this of the artists that I admire, because finding really good high-resolution photos and digitized versions of historical artwork is really difficult. If something is less famous than the Mona Lisa, it's very hard to find a good high-resolution, high-quality photo of it online. It's really hard. Finding an entire artist's body of work is immensely challenging, and so when I can, I like to collect books like this because they usually track down people that have work in private collections, for example, to include them in these books. And I'm trying to be less online this year. I'm trying to unplug a little bit. I'm trying to expand my art collection, my art book collection, the bookshelf behind me, and I think collecting books like this is a really good step toward that goal. The next book on my list is Profit First by Michalowicz. I am really excited for this book. Someone on Reddit was saying that this book basically saved their business from bankruptcy and taught them really valuable lessons about cash flow management. The reviews for this book are all very positive. It's basically, from my impression, having not read it yet, obviously, it's pretty similar, the advice in this book, to the kind of envelope theory of personal finance. It uses sub-accounts to basically say, hey, take the profit out of your business first. Don't think of it last, think of it first, and then have expenses come like only after. So really like try to rein in expenses as much as possible. And it sounds very obvious, but this is not a thing that people do when they do accounting and financial planning for their small business. And so I think it's probably worth reading this and seeing if there are any lessons in here that I actually want to take home and apply for myself. The next book on my list is Creative Acts for Curious People by Sarah Steen Greenberg, and this is a Stanford Design School book. I have been really struggling with health issues and anxiety over the past year, and it's kind of made me retreat into myself more. I am less open to taking risks. I really want to play it safe. I'm not really trying new things right now, and I don't want to stay in that kind of funk. And I'm hoping that this book, which is really all about how to think, create, and lead in unconventional ways, will help me get out of my shell a little more. I've always been a pretty reserved person. I haven't really been too much of like someone that takes big leaps and does huge experiments and like tries new things all the time. I'm very much an introvert, but I thought that this book would be a pretty good way for me to kind of break out of my shell a little bit more at work and just try new things. And so I was thinking that I should go through this and like pick my favorite exercises they suggest and maybe try and make it into like a Notion dashboard or a template or something for me like to kind of look through and figure out, okay, what do I want to implement in here? What do I think has the most potential? What feels the craziest, the scariest, and focus on kind of doing those things and really getting out of my shell. I don't know, just kind of a weird thought, but I think maybe this book will have some little golden nuggets in here. The next two books on my list are both the Plein Painters of America, but I have two versions. So I have the Southlands, and then I also have the North. The Southlands is focused on LA, which is unfortunately burning right now, San Diego, like Santa Barbara, and this is more focused on, okay, like the San Francisco Bay Area, Humboldt County, Northern California, that kind of vibe. But both of these books are pretty hard to track down. I think they're out of print, but they're very hard to find. They don't sell them in the set anymore, I guess. Maybe they never did, I'm not sure, but I love the California Impressionist movement. It is one of my favorite art movements of all time. It is very special to me. I really love American Impressionism as a whole, but there's something about California that's really special. Something about the light here, the greens, the yellows, the beautiful landscapes, like the way that like the coast is, the beautiful hills, I don't know. There's something about this state that really appeals to me. I love living here, and I am really excited to read through these books. They are two of my most exciting books that I have on the docket this year. Does that really make sense? I don't know, but I am really looking forward to flipping through these and reading them. I really want to challenge myself to pick one painting from each of these books, maybe like every month or two, and do a study of it. Doing studies has been the single most impactful thing I have done to get better as an artist, and so if these books help me even just a little bit at becoming the painter of my dreams, then I think they will have more than paid for themselves. You know what I mean? I think it's like this kind of investment into your growth and your education as an artist is really worth making, and I am really excited to read these books. I need to film this video, but I really want to stop filming so I can just already read them. That's how excited I am. Yeah. Okay, the next book on my list is Build a Business, Not a Job by David Finkel and Stephanie Harkness. This book is really kind of all about the reality that business owners work longer hours than most folks at 9 to 5, and often for less pay. And I think David Finkel and Stephanie Harkness see a really clear issue with that reality, right? Like folks start a business, myself included, because they don't want a 9 to 5 anymore. They want financial freedom. They want flexibility. They want, you know, to live their best creative life and to do that in a way that is financially sustainable and stable for them. And what often happens is that you build a business, but it's entirely reliant on you and you putting in, frankly, unsustainable amounts of labor on a regular basis. And I think, again, I haven't read it yet, but this book really seems to be about how to avoid that trap, how to escape it, how to build a business that is truly a business that gives you what you want in life. Now, granted, I'm not sure if this book is really going to be maximally applicable to me because, for better or for worse, I am the face of my business. I create content and I make art, and so my business is kind of reliant on me showing up on this platform, but also reliant on the output of my creative practice. The next book on my list is Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. Will Guidara is a hospitality industry expert. He's the guy that like shows up to Michelin star restaurants and helps them create world-class customer experiences, not just for the food, but for the experience, like going to the restaurant, like sitting down, being seen by your waiter, like having them truly understand you and get to know you and create an amazing experience where you feel taken care of by the staff there. That's what this guy does. And in this book, again, I have not read it yet, I think he talks about how to replicate that experience. The tagline is the remarkable power of giving people more than they expect. And I really like that idea. As someone that has a product-based business in many respects, where like I sell my art, I sell my prints, I sell blankets with my art on them and stuff like that, I want to give people more than they expect. I want to create a customer experience that sparks joy for them, that is surprising in a good way, that makes them feel seen. And if I can take away any little bits of lessons from this book, I think that would be really impactful for me and my business. And I don't know. I think being known as the kind of person that creates an amazing customer experience, that cares about the folks that you are serving, that markets from a place of genuine value, right? That like sells from a place of genuinely wanting to help someone and wanting to give them the best experience possible, I think that is really powerful. I think the brands that are really good at this are really well respected. And I think it's a good feeling kind of place to be as a business owner. It's good to make people feel good. That sounds terribly hedonistic of me, but that's kind of what I genuinely believe, right? And I think this book could really help me get better at that. There's this review by Dan Levy on the back. Dan Levy was in Schitt's Creek. He says, "Working alongside Will Guidara is the ultimate masterclass in how to thoughtfully improve the lives of those around you. He is now sharing his truly remarkable gift with the world in this keenly observant and heartfelt must-read for anyone looking to stand out from the pack." And I think that's what I want. I want to stand out from the pack. I want to thoughtfully improve the lives of people around me, and I am hoping that maybe this book can help me get better at that. That's all. The next two books on my list are $100 Million Offers and $100 Million Leads, both by Alex Hormozi. I will admit, I do not have the best impression of Alex Hormozi. I haven't watched any of his YouTube videos. He's a very big kind of entrepreneurship guru guy here on YouTube. He has like this big stake in this learning platform called School. I don't dislike School, but there's just like some like competition thing around School where you get some kind of like profit split or commission or something, or like you get to meet him maybe if you sign someone up for School and they do really well. And this has resulted in me getting probably about 10 emails a week from people not related to Alex Hormozi, not related to School, but plugging this product and trying to convince me to join like every day. Just random people, but like 10 times a week this is happening to me in my email inbox, and it's a little bit of a disaster at this point, and I really do not like it. But I figured, hey, I want to give this guy a shot. He's probably, you know, smart. He seems smart, so I thought I would give his books a try. The first book, $100 Million Leads, seems like it's all about how to acquire prospective customers to your business, how to attract attention, how to make content, how to get them onto your email list, how to create lead magnets, stuff like that. This is basically the core of creating a business. Like, you need prospective customers to be able to sell them things. Like, you have to have someone to sell to if you are going to make money, either in person or online, right? Like, you have to have like someone willing to buy from you. And that's basically, I think, what he's trying to talk about in this book. And also like kind of practical strategies to generate leads in your business. This all seems great. Just flipping through it, having not really read it yet, he has a lot of doodles in this book. I kind of like the way that he's making things more approachable. It's definitely making me think better of him. I'm hoping that I will get a better read on the guy, having, you know, read his books. The next book, the one that I'm kind of more excited about from him, is called $100 Million Offers. This is basically about, he says, how to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no. That seems great. I'm excited to read that. Yeah, sure, I'll hear him out. I'll hear what he has to say. This is a best-selling book. It has a lot of good reviews on Amazon. I'm sure that like he can't be super terrible, but I will admit I have kind of a bad impression of him just because of the havoc that he has wrought upon my email inbox. Okay, so the last book on my list for this year is actually a book that I've owned for quite a while. It's Alla Prima II by Richard Schmid. I've had this book for a couple of years now, but I've never read it cover to cover before. I've never taken notes on it. I have never tried to do all of the exercises that he recommends doing in this book, and I think that is probably a crime. So I thought I would actually do that this year. I keep hearing how amazing this book is. Everyone that I know that owns this book loves it. All of these seriously talented oil painters that I know swear by this book. So I thought that in conjunction with the Edgar Allan Payne book that I mentioned earlier, one of my big goals for this year would be to read this book cover to cover, take notes, do the things that he suggests, and see how far that takes me as a painter. Richard Schmid is one of my favorite artists of all time. I think there is just something incredibly special about the way that he paints. It is so intricately rendered, so accurate, so precise, and then at the same time, so much of his work is so loose and expressionistic. It's like very painterly, but then so precise. Like, he manages to balance that perfectly, and it's so dynamic and compelling to look at. Like, to witness in real life or online is just, it immediately grabs you. I think he's incredibly talented. I own 2 of his books. I own Alla Prima II, of course, this one, and then I also own his landscapes book. I really want to start with this one because this is his kind of educational book. It's like kind of his seminal work. It's the one that everyone loves, everyone always talks about, and I figured that starting with this one would maybe help me be able to better take advantage of the landscapes book. But yeah, those are the books that I really want to read this year. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This is a little bit of like an unhinged kind of rant. I realize that a lot of my books are very much tailored to me, right? Like, I am someone that loves marketing, that loves business, that loves oil painting and art history, and so a lot of my book choices are very much kind of tailored to the kind of person that I am, which is to be expected, right? Like, this is my TBR, like, you're watching my video, maybe that's normal. I don't know, I felt like, should I add more books to this list that are more kind of like general? Should I try and like appease the crowd? But then I thought, no, I think I really just want to lean all the way into my own interests this year. So yeah, that's it. All right, I will see you in the next one. Bye.